I was fired after 30 years to make room for the boss's son. Now they're begging me back. I 55M, never thought I'd be writing this, but here we are. After dedicating 3 decades of my life to one company, climbing from entry-level to senior operations manager, I was called into a meeting last Friday that changed everything. What follows is a story about corporate loyalty, family struggles, and ultimately, standing up for what's right. The meeting was brief. HR was there with my boss, and they fed me some corporate BS about restructuring and fresh perspectives, but I knew the real reason. The boss's son had just graduated from business school, and daddy needed to make room. They handed me a severance package that wasn't even worth the paper it was printed on, considering my years of service. 2 months' salary and a handshake. 30 years of dedication reduced to a footnote in a corporate memo. I started at this company when I was 25, fresh out of community college. Back then, we were a small regional operation with just 2 warehouses and a dream. I was there when we expanded to 5 states, then 15. I personally set up our international logistics network. The company grew from a $5 million operation to a $500 million industry leader, and I had my fingerprints on every major improvement along the way. The worst part? I had just finished implementing a new logistics system that was saving the company millions annually. I'd spent 2 years developing it, staying late, working weekends, even missing my kids' graduation to meet deadlines. The system was complex, integrating our inventory management, shipping schedules, and supplier relationships into one seamless operation. I was the only one who truly understood its intricacies, having built it from the ground up while managing daily operations. I knew the boss's son was coming in. Everyone did. He'd been the topic of water cooler conversations for months. Fresh out of an Ivy League business school, he'd done a few summer internships at tech startups, and suddenly he was an operations expert. I tried to be optimistic, even prepared a comprehensive training plan for him. I figured they'd at least let me mentor him, show him the ropes. Guess I was naive. I cleared out my desk that afternoon. No farewell party, no thank you, just security watching me pack 30 years into a cardboard box. My team tried to say goodbye, but management kept them in a mandatory meeting. Real classy. I could see them watching from the conference room, some crying, others just looking angry. These were people I'd mentored, whose kids I'd watched grow up, whose weddings I'd attended. The drive home was surreal. 3 decades of memories played through my mind. The late nights, the product launches, the Christmas parties, the crisis management sessions that turned into breakfast meetings. I'd given this company my youth, my prime years, sacrificed countless family moments for their emergencies. The next few weeks were rough. My wife was supportive, but I could see the worry in her eyes. We had a mortgage, my daughter's college tuition, and my son's wedding coming up. The job market isn't kind to 55-year-olds, no matter how experienced they are. I sent out resumes, reached out to my network, but kept hitting the same wall. Overqualified, they said. What they meant was too old. The impact on our family life was immediate. We canceled our planned vacation, started cutting back on expenses. My daughter offered to take a break from college to work, but I refused. My son wanted to scale back his wedding plans. The guilt was overwhelming. I'd always been the provider, the stable one. Now I was the reason for their sacrifices. Then it started happening. First, small issues with the logistics system. A supplier called me personally, confused about a delivery schedule. They'd been working with us for 15 years, and suddenly their deliveries were all mixed up. I wished them luck and hung up. Then bigger problems emerged. I heard through former colleagues that inventory was a mess, deliveries were late, and costs were spiraling. The boss's son, fresh out of business school with his fancy degree and 0 real-world experience, was drowning. He'd made improvements to my system without understanding the underlying architecture. It was like watching someone try to perform surgery after watching a few YouTube videos. The automated scheduling system I'd built relied on complex algorithms that considered everything from weather patterns to local traffic conditions. He'd simplified it into a basic spreadsheet. My old team was trying their best to hold things together, but they were fighting a losing battle. The system wasn't just about software. It was about relationships, understanding the quirks of different suppliers, knowing which shipping companies performed better in which regions. It was 30 years of institutional knowledge encoded into a digital framework. 3 months after my firing, my phone rang. It was my old boss, trying to sound casual. "We'd love to have you consult on some operational issues." I let him squirm through the conversation before declining. A week later, HR called with a formal offer, double my old salary, plus bonuses. The next day, one of the board members called. Apparently, their quarterly numbers were a disaster. I did some digging through my industry contacts. The company had lost 3 major clients in 2 months. Their legendary 98% on-time delivery rate had dropped to 75%. Warehouse efficiency was down 40%. The new system implemented by the boss's son had caused a ripple effect throughout the entire operation. One warehouse had shipped the same order 3 times, while another had nothing going out for days. The financial impact was staggering. Emergency shipping costs to meet deadlines were eating into profits. Suppliers were demanding better terms due to constant schedule changes. Some had even started requiring prepayment, destroying the company's cash flow management. The sophisticated just-in-time inventory system I'd built was in shambles. I thought about it. The money was tempting, especially with all our financial commitments. My son's wedding was looking more like a backyard barbecue than the celebration he deserved. My daughter was taking extra classes to graduate early and reduce tuition costs. My wife had gone back to teaching summer school to help with bills. But then I remembered cleaning out my desk while security watched. I remembered missing my kids' graduation for a company that discarded me like yesterday's trash. I remembered the look on my team's faces as they watched me leave. The company hadn't just betrayed me. They'd betrayed the principle of earning your position through hard work and merit. I called back and made my own offer. I'd return, but as an independent consultant, at my rates. I'd train their team properly this time, document everything, and ensure they couldn't pull this again with someone else. But I had conditions. 1. The boss's son would start from entry-level, learning each department like everyone else. 2. I would establish a formal mentorship program for all employees. 3. My old team members would all receive raises and promotions they'd been denied. 4. The company would establish an education assistance program for warehouse workers. 5. All future executive positions would require at least 5 years of floor experience. There was silence on the other end. Then, we'll need to discuss this internally. 2 days later, they accepted every term. Turns out, their largest client, a Fortune 500 company I'd personally brought in years ago, was threatening to walk due to constant logistics issues. They'd already moved 30% of their business to competitors. The boss's son? He's starting in the warehouse next week, learning the business from the ground up like I did 30 years ago. I start Monday, but this time on my terms. My first order of business? Setting up a proper training program for the warehouse staff, including the boss's son. Sometimes karma needs a little help, and sometimes the best revenge is forcing positive change. The company's paying me triple my old salary as a consultant, which means my son's wedding is back on track, and my daughter can finish school without rushing. More importantly, I'm helping build something sustainable. The boss's son might actually become a good leader now, learning the business properly instead of trying to run something he doesn't understand. My old team? They're thriving under the new structure. 3 have already received promotions, and 2 are in line for executive positions. The warehouse workers are signing up for education assistance in droves. Turns out, when you invest in people, they tend to surprise you. Edit. Since this blew up, I want to clarify something. This isn't about revenge. It's about respect, not just for me, but for every employee who puts their heart into their work. The boss's son isn't a bad kid. He was just handed something he wasn't ready for. Maybe now he'll have the chance to actually earn his success. Edit 2. Thanks for all the awards and support. To those asking, yes, I got everything in writing, and my lawyer reviewed all contracts. I've learned my lesson about trust in business. Edit 3. Update. First week complete. The boss's son actually has potential when he's not trying to run before he can walk. Found him studying logistics manuals during his lunch break. Maybe this story will have a happy ending for everyone involved. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with friends or family who might enjoy it too. Your support means a lot. And if you have any thoughts, questions, or story ideas, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next story.